And so far, we know the names of 7 of those who lost their lives, but there's information still to come, and our hearts and minds go out to the people and families that were affected. And it's important to note that this was a very long night once this became a crime scene. As the night progressed, investigators were processing the scene and people there until just about midnight, going over accounts to figure out just what happened. And we're doing the same this morning. Let's bring in Chris Voss. He is a former FBI lead international kidnapping negotiator and was a member of the New York City Joint Terrorism Task Force. Chris, thank you for joining us, as always. Now, you heard one of the survivors say, I saw him, or who I believe to be him. He was purposeful. He did not see a weapon on him. What does that mean to you?
Well, the shooter rehearsed this in his mind, and he probably walked through it a few times physically ahead of time. He thought about a lot of things and how he would make sure that this went down. For example, the reports that he didn't say anything to anybody. He probably anticipated what he would do if somebody spoke to him, and he didn't want to speak to anybody at all. He wanted to make sure he did this. So he came in very focused. He made sure he wasn't distracted, and probably did exactly as he had rehearsed it previously.
And rehearsal could be consistent with his having made 2 trips inside. You know, it's still developing theory about how he got the weapon in, what his pattern of events was, but the witness says, I did not see a weapon on him. Could he have been casing, reviewing?
Yeah, more than likely he was. If he did that, he certainly probably did it in the days leading up to it, and he anticipated those problems and he prepared for them.
Now, the man also said that he believes he had seen him before. That is a little inconsistent with information coming out from investigators because he wasn't scheduled to start work yet, though he did have clearance. But he did have the ability to go inside, and you're saying that may have been consistent with preparation?
Right, yeah. He absolutely would have probably walked through this. He walked through it in his mind, and he walked through it physically to know that it would happen the way that he wanted it to happen.
Now, what we understand about the configuration of the building, a large atrium, hallways off of it, that the shooter reportedly found a high vantage point. You're saying that makes sense strategically?
Yeah, absolutely. He would have wanted to make sure that he accomplished his mission, which led him on what he would have felt was a killing journey, and that was the objective of his killing journey and where he wanted it all to go down.
And why is that such a good position for him to take? We always hear about high ground, but what did it enable him to do?
Well, tactically, it gives him the opportunity to attack as many people as possible, keep them focused, and it's also a defensive position so that he can keep doing it for as long as he possibly can before he's attacked.
And obviously the important ingredients we don't have yet, what was going on in his mind in the days preceding this attack and figuring out how he got to this dark place.
Right, exactly.
Chris Voss, thank you very much for helping us fill in the picture.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on this morning.
Obviously, we're focusing on what's happening in the nation's capital, also what's out in Colorado, but there's a lot of other news as well. So let's get right to Michaela Pereira.